Shoot me if you want, Kale said, his voice low, steady as an executioner's bell. But you'll need more bullets than there are stars. And when your clip runs dry, I'll still be standing. Then we'll see who remembers whose name. The Syndicate soldier's visor reflected the fire-swallowing Varen station. For a moment, no one moved. Then the world did. Civilians fled in every direction, scattering like sparks from a dying flame. Neon signs flickered, half their letters dying into obscenity. Bar became AR, market became ARC. The sharp stink of ozone and oil thickened the air as black-armored troops poured through the station's main concourse. Rifles raised, orders barked in clipped machine code. Kale stood at the heart of it, a mountain of patience straining against collapse. His hand snapped out, shoving Aaron toward the maintenance corridors. Move now. The boy stumbled, nearly fell. His wide eyes made him look younger than 16, though he'd seen enough of the galaxy to have aged twice that. Kale's stomach twisted at the thought. He couldn't let the Syndicate have him. Not the boy, not his brother, not the last fragile piece of family he still had. Rin appeared from the smoke, wiry as a knife's edge, face streaked with grease. He knew every vent, shaft, and rusted bypass of Varen Station. Rats like him always did. "Follow me," he shouted over the chaos. And then they were running, boots hammering down steel passages that reeked of spilled coolant and burned spices. Behind them came the Syndicate. Always behind, always hunting. Kale's world narrowed to Aaron's breathless gasps. The slap of metal underfoot, the taste of iron thick in his mouth. Every twist of the corridors was a test of speed and trust. They plunged through dripping maintenance shafts, past walls carved with graffiti that cursed both Syndicate and gangs, past sleeping corners where desperate men had once gambled their last credits on broken dice. The station itself seemed to pulse with panic, its bones groaning as though eager to shed its invaders. Then the shafts opened into the loading docks, and hope betrayed them. Bounty hunters waited in shadows. Dozens. Reptilian jaws gleamed wet under flickering floodlights. Mandibles clicked, tusks ground against iron teeth. Their leader stepped forward, scales glittering like glass shards. He grinned with hunger. "Big price on you, Stalker," he hissed. "Bigger on a boy." Kale felt Aaron stiffen beside him. He did not let fear show. Not in front of his brother. Not ever. His reply was not words, but motion. Kale struck like lightning carved into flesh. His blade tore through scale, his fist shattered fangs. A rifle but cracked a skull. A boot heel collapsed a throat. Bodies fell like puppets whose strings had been cut. The reptilian leader staggered, coughing blood onto Kale's boots. His claws scrabbled weakly against the dock plates. "Everyone talks," he wheezed. "That bounty? Even your shadow would sell you." Kale crouched, voice sharp as winter glass. "Then the Syndicate dies tonight." And he finished him. Silence lasted half a breath. Then the world tore open. Explosions rumbled through the station, echoing like war drums. Rival gangs, sensing Syndicate weakness, rose up with blades and plasma rifles. Mercenaries flipped allegiances as Kale funneled millions of stolen casino credits into hidden channels. Promises of fortune broadcast on every encrypted frequency. Chaos answered his call like an old lover. The Syndicate fought back, but their empire was not iron. It was rust. Every betrayal, every explosion, every whisper of rebellion gnawed at its foundations. Varen Station became a furnace. Plasma bolts sizzled across broken concourses. Neon shattered into sparks. Fire licked the air with greedy tongues. Civilians screamed, hiding behind overturned vendor stalls. Kale cut through it all, not as a hero, not as a villain, simply as necessity. His blade found armor seams. His rifle never missed. He did not fight for Varen. He fought for Aaron, and nothing in the universe burned brighter than that. By dawn, banners that had once commanded fear lay in heaps of smoldering fabric. The Syndicate's insignias, painted across steel walls, were blackened into ash. Varen belonged not to any empire now, but to chaos, and Kale had lit the match. Their stolen freighter clawed free of the wreckage, engines sputtering but loyal. Through the viewport, The station shrank into nothing, flames marking its bones like funeral candles. Aaron slumped against the co-pilot's chair, pale with exhaustion. His voice cracked when he spoke. "We can't fight them all, Kale. The Syndicate, they'll never stop." Kale didn't answer. Words were weak currency. His silence was heavier, a steel-plated vow. Rin leaned back, lighting a stolen cigar with trembling hands. "Word is," he muttered through smoke, "there's a trail. Leads to a dead world orbiting a dying star. Something ancient waits there. The Syndicate's been sniffing around for months." Kale's gaze fixed on the endless dark ahead. His jaw tightened, a storm brewing behind his eyes. "Then that's where we're going." Slipstream engines howled, pulling them into the black. Stars smeared into rivers of light, as if the universe itself recoiled from the path they had chosen. Aaron shifted, uneasy. What if it's worse than the Syndicate? What if it's something we shouldn't find? Kale turned at last, resting a hand heavy and steady on his brother's shoulder. "Then it'll learn what everything else has learned. No one touches you while I breathe." Rin chuckled darkly. "You always make it sound like you're quoting some old Hollywood. Next thing you'll tell me is that humans can wrestle gravity into submission if they just flex hard enough." Kale allowed the corner of his mouth to twitch. "Maybe we can." Aaron almost smiled, and for a moment, in the quiet between slipstream pulses, they could almost believe the worst was behind them. Almost. Because whispers travel faster than ships, and Kale's shadow had already grown longer than the stars could bear. And so the Syndicate would follow. So would others. Empires hungry for what Kale might stumble upon. Mercenaries greedy for the bounty on his brother's head. But Kale didn't flinch. He was already the hunted, and the hunted sometimes learn to stalk. Perhaps you don't understand yet. Perhaps you think this is another story of rebellion, of soldiers and empires, of battles fought in forgotten corners of space. It isn't. This is a story about a man who refused to lose what little he had left. And if you've ever held someone close enough to fear the world stealing them away, then you already know what Kale knew. The only thing more terrifying than being hunted is becoming the hunter. They say dead worlds keep their secrets. Kale muttered as the freighter touched down on cracked stone. But secrets don't stay buried when someone's willing to bleed for them. The ramp lowered, hissing against the dust. Heatless wind carried the stale scent of a planet that had lost everything. Its seas, its skies, even its color. Only bone-dry silence remained, stretching from horizon to horizon beneath the pallid glow of a dying star. Yet there, in the center of the plateau, stood the vault. A monolith of impossible geometry, blacker than shadow, rising like an accusation against the universe. Its edges were too sharp, its angles too precise, as if reality itself had been forced to obey another's design. Aaron's eyes widened, his voice a whisper. "It's alive." Kale kept a hand on his rifle as he studied the structure. His brother was trembling, though whether from fear or awe he couldn't tell. Beside them, Rin squinted, his grease-stained face pinched with unease. "Looks more like a coffin than a miracle. And you know what they say about coffins, something's always waiting inside." Kale ignored the quip, but his instinct screamed. The Syndicate had chased them across half the spiral arm. This wasn't coincidence. They wanted Aaron here, at this exact place, for a reason. "Stay sharp," Kale ordered, his voice flat steel. "If they wanted us here, we'll find out why." The vault's surface shimmered faintly, pulsing with faint symbols no human tongue could name. Kale circled its base, searching for seams, weapons, defenses, anything. He found nothing. No doors, no cracks, no weakness, just silence. Then Aaron stepped forward. "Don't," Kale snapped, but it was too late. The boy pressed his palm against the black surface. Light exploded. Silver veins streaked outward beneath his touch, racing across the stone in patterns that writhed like living things. The ground shook, air vibrating with ancient resonance. With a thunderous groan, the doors split apart, parting for the first time in ages. Rin staggered back, nearly dropping his pistol. "Well, that's not creepy at all." Kale's eyes narrowed. "Inside. Now." The interior swallowed them whole. They entered a cathedral of light and motion. Walls glimmered with energy, shifting as though painted by storms. In the center floated a sphere larger than a house, constantly changing. Liquid metal folding into crystal, crystal melting into flame, flame dissolving into radiant water. It pulsed with its own rhythm, a heartbeat that none of them shared yet all of them felt. Aaron's mouth fell open. It's beautiful. Cale didn't move. Beauty meant nothing if it couldn't be weaponized or destroyed. He scanned the chamber, instincts tightening. His brother might be drawn to the sphere, but Cale saw only a noose waiting to tighten. Then the sound of boots broke the silence. Syndicate soldiers marched through the opening, their armor polished black, their rifles humming. At their head came Commander Vera, his presence cutting through the chamber like a blade through silk. His armor was etched with crimson scars, his visor reflecting the shifting light of the sphere. "The boy," Vera declared. His voice was measured, confident, cold. "He is the key. He opens it, or the galaxy burns." Cale raised his rifle, aiming directly between the commander's visor plates. "You'll have to burn me first." But Aaron's body trembled. Sweat beaded at his temple. His voice came small, brittle. "Cale, I can feel it. It's waiting for me." Cale's gut twisted. He had dragged his brother across a galaxy of fire and blood to keep him safe, and now the boy wanted to walk into the jaws of whatever this was. "You don't touch it," Cale growled. "Not for them. Not for anyone." But Aaron stepped forward anyway. His thin shoulders squared, his hands shaking as he reached toward the sphere. Cale lunged to stop him. Too late. Aaron's fingertips brushed the surface. Light detonated across the chamber. The sphere flared, shedding torrents of raw energy. Soldiers screamed as constructs of living brilliance emerged from the walls. Figures of fire and crystal wielding weapons of impossible design. Plasma rifles sputtered uselessly, power cells rupturing in soldiers' hands. Armor split like eggshells, visors shattering under radiant blows. The chamber sealed itself. Doors slammed shut. Syndicate reinforcements outside pounded against stone that would not yield. Inside, chaos consumed them. Cale pulled Aaron back, shielding him as the boy collapsed in his arms. "Stay with me," he hissed, his voice breaking despite himself. The voice came then, everywhere and nowhere at once. Not sound, but truth. Custodianship recognized. Peacekeeper system online. The words resonated in Cale's bones. Rin staggered backward, eyes wide. "Holy hell. It's not a weapon. It's a damn library. An archive. A what? Some kind of galactic babysitter." The constructs ignored the three of them, focusing only on the Syndicate soldiers. One by one, the armored invaders fell, disarmed, disabled, but not killed. The energy beings drove them out, stripping their power before casting them into the dust. Even Commander Vera stumbled back, his visor cracked, his voice ragged with fury. "This isn't over, Stalker," he roared, before the vault itself expelled him with a surge of blinding force. Then silence. Cale looked down at Aaron. The boy's eyes were glazed, his voice faint as he whispered, "It's been waiting, not a weapon, Cale. Everything. Knowledge, fleets, history, it's all here." His words slurred, exhaustion pulling him toward unconsciousness. Cale gathered him close, his own heart pounding with fear and rage. He had promised to keep Aaron safe, but now the boy had become the center of something vast, something no blade or rifle could guard against. Rin's voice trembled. "You know what this means, right? Every empire, every warlord, every lunatic in the galaxy will fight to own this. And they'll all come for him." Cale rose slowly, lifting his brother into his arms. His eyes burned like twin furnaces. "Then let them come." His voice was quiet, but the words carried the weight of iron. "They'll learn the same lesson the Syndicate learned. You don't cross my family. You don't cross the Stalker." The vault pulsed behind them, sealing its doors as they carried Aaron back to the freighter. The dead star glowed faintly overhead, indifferent to the storm it had just birthed. Perhaps you wonder if humanity deserves such power, if one frightened boy should carry the weight of civilizations lost. I wonder that too. But remember this, the galaxy has always underestimated us. They see recklessness where there is resilience, chaos where there is courage. And they forget, when everything is stripped away, when the stars themselves turn against us, humans fight hardest for family. And that, reader, is why the vault opened to us. Funny thing about miracles, Kale said, checking the edge on his blade as the freighter drifted in the dark between stars. They always come with someone else's noose attached. Rin looked up from the console, his usual smirk dulled into worry. The ship hummed around them, patched and limping from the last skirmish. Aaron lay in the bunk nearby, pale but breathing, his chest rising with fragile steadiness. He had slept since the vault, the weight of whatever knowledge it had poured into him pressing like lead. Kale kept watch, his instincts restless. He didn't trust silence, not after what they had seen. The vault had spat the syndicate out like pests, but that didn't mean they wouldn't return. And when they did, they'd bring the full fury of their fleets. Rin broke the quiet. So, your brother unlocks the galaxy's biggest toy chest, and you're sharpening a knife. Doesn't exactly scream strategy. Kale didn't look up. Knives don't run out of power cells. And strategy doesn't mean a thing if you can't keep him breathing. A cough interrupted them. Weak but clear. Aaron sat up, rubbing his temples. His voice was cracked, yet steady enough. It's not just a toy chest, Kale. The vault wasn't built to be owned. It was built to test. That drew Kale's eyes, sharp and dangerous. Test two. Aaron swallowed hard, his face shadowed by the glow of the console lights. Us. Anyone who finds it. The custodians wanted to see if a species would use what's inside to heal the galaxy, or burn it. Rin whistled low. And here I thought we were done with bedtime stories. You're saying this thing's judging us. Aaron met his gaze, and for once there was no boyish fear, only a heavy certainty. It already has, and it chose me. Kale's jaw tightened. He hated the words, hated the weight they put on his brother's narrow shoulders. But before he could argue, alarms blared across the cockpit. Syndicate ships, 6 destroyers, locking onto their trail. Hell's teeth, Rin muttered, hands flying over controls. They've tagged us with a beacon. We're not outrunning this. Kale rose, blade sliding back into its sheath, rifle in hand. His voice was calm, iron laid over fire. Then we make them regret finding us. The freighter shuddered as enemy fire lanced across its shields. Rin pulled hard on the controls, weaving through debris fields, but the Syndicate's formation was flawless, relentless. Vera was at their helm. Kale knew it as surely as he knew his own breath. Aaron stumbled to the cockpit, gripping the chair. His voice cut through the chaos. The vault showed me something. A beacon, another construct, hidden deeper in this system. If we reach it, I can activate it. It'll give us cover. Or fry us alive, Rin snapped. Kale made the decision instantly. Do it. The chase carved fire across the void. Plasma streaks burned like falling stars, explosions rattling the freighter's hull. Shields cracked, engines screamed, yet Rin pushed the vessel harder, threading through asteroid belts where Syndicate destroyers struggled to follow. At last, the beacon emerged, a shattered moon, its core glowing faintly with silver light. Structures jutted from its broken crust, identical to the vault's impossible geometry. Punch it, Kale ordered. The freighter plunged into the ruins as the destroyers closed. Fire raked across their hull, sparks raining through the cabin. Aaron staggered forward, palms outstretched, as if the very air was alive. His eyes glowed faintly, threads of silver racing across his skin. The moon answered. Energy rippled from its core, tendrils of light weaving outward. Asteroids shifted, pulled into new orbits by unseen force. A lattice of radiant shields sprang up, encasing the ruins. Syndicate ships slammed against it, weapons useless, their formation shattering. Vera's flagship forced through, battered but unyielding. Its prow cut into the shield, engines burning white. A transmission cracked across their comms, the commander's voice jagged with fury. You can't hide behind ancient ghosts, Stalker. Give me the boy, and I'll spare what's left of you. Kale leaned close to the comm, his voice low and venomous. You had your chance. Now you bleed. The flagship's bay opened. Dropships speared through the shield, soldiers descending in swarms. The freighter's hull groaned as Syndicate troopers boarded, their boots pounding against steel. Kale met them in the corridors, rifle barking fire, blade flashing in brutal arcs. He moved with surgical fury, each strike precise, every shot fatal. Rin fought at his side with wild laughter, tossing grenades down narrow halls, cursing between breaths. But the Syndicate were endless. For every one that fell, two more surged forward. Then Aaron stepped into the corridor. The boy raised his hands, eyes burning like twin stars. The air trembled, reality bending. Syndicate rifles tore themselves from armored fists, crumpling like paper. Gravity twisted, soldiers hurled against bulkheads with bone-breaking force. Kale shouted, fear spiking his voice. Stop! You'll kill yourself. Aaron's voice was steady, terrifying in its certainty. I won't. The vault won't let me. The corridor blazed with silver light. Syndicate soldiers screamed, disarmed and broken, driven back toward their dropships. Vera himself forced through the chaos, his armor scarred, his blade crackling with energy. He charged Aaron. Kale intercepted, steel meeting steel in a storm of sparks. The clash shook his arms, the commander's strength immense. They circled, striking, parrying, every blow echoing with years of blood feud. At last, Vera drove Kale to his knees, blade poised for the killing stroke. But Aaron raised his hand. The commander froze mid-strike, every joint locked, his body rigid as stone. His visor cracked, revealing one furious eye burning with hate. You think you've won, boy? Vera spat. Every fleet will come for you. You'll drown in your gift. Aaron's face was pale, lips trembling, but his voice carried the weight of the vault itself. Then let them come. I'm not afraid. With a motion like cutting thread, the boy cast the commander backward, slamming him into the dropship's hatch. The ship lurched, alarms screaming, and then tore itself free, retreating into the void. Silence fell across the freighter. Kale rose slowly, gripping his brother's shoulder. Aaron swayed, but did not fall. His eyes dimmed, silver fading. Rin broke the quiet, his voice softer than Kale had ever heard it. Well, that's one way to tell the galaxy you're here. Kale pulled Aaron close, the words heavy as stone in his chest. He's not here for them. He's here because I'll keep him breathing, no matter what it takes. The beacon's light dimmed, the shield dissolving into dust. Stars returned, silent witnesses to what had unfolded. The freighter drifted onward, scarred but alive. Perhaps you believe power corrupts, that no hand can hold it without breaking. Perhaps you're right, but I have seen something sharper than corruption, something stronger than fear. It is the fire that burns when one soul refuses to let go of another, when love becomes both sword and shield. And if the galaxy has forgotten that lesson, then it will relearn it, through us. Because in the end, the stars do not decide what we become. We do.